Hi, I am Shallalla. I am a creativity coach from Germany, and I'm doing the Artist's Way this year again, actually for the 10th time since 2005. I started for the first time, and this time I'm really excited because I'm not doing it alone. I have someone very special. Joe, would you please introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. Hi, I'm Joe Holmes. I'm from Essex in England, and I'm a writer, songwriter, radio presenter, and I do a lot of things. So I'm doing The Artist's Way for the very first time. That's The Artist's Way, a book by Julia Cameron that sets out a 12-week course, and Shallalla's doing it for the 10th time, aren't you?
Yes, it is indeed the 10th time, and my book is really battered. It's been through a lot. I've always done this alone by myself, so I'm really curious, and not just to do it for myself with somebody else, but also I am so curious how this book will affect you and your life and your art. Because I remember quite well the impact that it had when I went through it for the first time. There are a ton of labels that you can use, I'm a writer, I'm a director, I'm a creativity coach, I'm a singer, but I never ever thought of calling myself an artist, definitely not in 2005. When I started reading The Artist's Way and going through the exercises, I became more and more comfortable with, hey, I'm an artist, that is so cool. And it really did something for my life and how I see myself in the world.
Yeah, for sure. And I feel like it's that change of perspective, and we look at it takes a more creative approach. And even if you're not an artist, even if you just want to think more creatively, I think using The Artist's Way helps, especially what I've found in the first week. Although I'm just getting into it for the very first time, the morning pages have helped me organise what I've got to do, and it helps treat the creativity element seriously, because when I'm going through everything that's in my mind, everything I've got to plan, everything I've got to do, I weight the creativity as equally to, say, a university assignment, for example. So it means I treat everything with the same level of seriousness. And I know in the book we were talking about our favourite quotes, and Julia Cameron says, "The world was never flat, although everyone believed it was. You were not dumb, crazy, egomaniacal, grandiose or silly just because you falsely believe yourself to be." And as you were saying, you never thought of yourself as an artist, but if you start to think of yourself as an artist and you give yourself that greater sense of who you are, it helps. And I remember Lady Gaga said, you don't need a manager, you don't need, a Grammy to be an artist, all you need is a canvas and a paintbrush.
This time, it's the very first time that I go through The Artist's Way as a creativity coach. So now I have kind of this different type of art, because being a creativity coach is definitely an art in itself. And I deal with, well, not exactly the same, but a lot of anxieties and self-doubt. Am I really good enough? Who am I to tell people how to live their life, etc.? And so this for me, this round is really special. And I love the quote that you chose. And for me, it was really hard, because the whole book is colored now. Everything is underlined. I came down to one thing that might not sound like very much, but to me this is really important, and this is the quote from her: "In recovering from our creative blocks, it is necessary to go gently and slowly. What we are after here is the healing of old wounds, not the creation of new ones."
And I really agree with that. And I feel like we've all got old wounds that we can heal, whether we're an artist or whether we're anyone. And I remember one of the tasks was I think it said to go through the Monsters Hall of Fame and to go through something that affected you and affected how you operate. And I know you've done this week 10 times now, but going through it the first time, I was quite hesitant to go through and then to really write about it, because I feel like writing about things that had hurt me, but I didn't really want to dig them all up because I thought it's not that important. But when you start writing about it, you start to see just how important it is. And I wrote about how changing who I'm around and changing the people I'm talked to. See, I used to talk to people and be around people that didn't really see what I did. They didn't treat it with any validity. They would laugh at me doing interviews. They would laugh at me writing songs. They would laugh at me wanting to publish a book. And now I'm around people that absolutely love me for that and support me for that. And I feel like having that change in people around me has really... And I feel like that's what the first week's all about. It's about creating from a safe space and about learning that if you create a better space around you, then you as an artist are going to perform better.
I love that you went for that task, although you were like first hesitant. In my experience, it is really, as Julia Cameron says, like with the tasks, go for the one that you don't really want to do, where you have the most resistance, because that's kind of like where the treasure lies hidden. I think the world is a really strange place right now, and we all need to rethink our concept of safety and like, what do I really need? And I think for me, the tasks were really, really interesting, and the whole chapter, the first chapter, and thinking about safety and what do I need, like to function as an artist and as a human being. What do I really need? I went through my Monster Hall of Fame. I kind of did the same thing as you did. I didn't want to look at it because it was just like, nah, it's painful. I don't want to look at it. And in 2010, I was pretty active in theater, and I had just finished university. And during university, I had done a lot of theater work for free. And once I had my degree, I said, okay, I can't do that anymore. I remember there were like 2 different contests for beginning level directors. I put everything in the applications for these 2 things, like really everything. My whole creativity was poured into those, and the applications were beautiful. They were like pieces of art themselves. The first feedback I got was from my hometown theater, and they said, yeah, your application, it was wow, it was really amazing, but we think it's a little bit too early for you. And then I got the feedback from the other one, from the festival, and they said, wow, your application was amazing, and we feel that you're too far for our program. This created something really ugly, like in my head, because it created this, it doesn't matter what I do, I'm not good enough. So, and actually I quit theater in 2010. I mean, I did other things, but I did quit theater. So that was something that I dug up during this week.
And that's such a painful story, because the different feedback people give you. I mean, we need to protect the artist's child, as Julia Cameron says, and sort of be aware that our creativity, it's delicate, and that sort of creative spirit. Sometimes we think we're good at taking feedback, but when we hear things like that, it can be so off-putting, especially as a young person. As me, I'm 18 and I'm doing like all the things I possibly can. I'm really trying my hardest, and I've had that before. I get people say, I'm too young. Yes, you can do it. You're really good at it, but we want someone older. We want someone with more life experience, which is important. But it's the way that people come across. And then there's the opposite side of it, where people say, yeah, you're doing well for someone that's so young, but we don't really want that. We want someone that's just starting out. And then you're like, which category do I fit into? There's no sort of room to thrive, is there?
The quote from Ralph Waldo Emerson, and it's from the first chapter, not the first week, but the first chapter, when Julia Cameron is talking about spiritual electricity, the basic principles. And it's what lies behind us and what lies before us are tiny matters compared to what lies within us.
What lies within us is our greatest help and also our greatest enemy. And I know Gaga says in a lyric, my biggest enemy is me. And I feel like it's so true. And when I did the morning pages, I noticed my sort of endurance increase to sit and write, and to sit and have that flow of energy that I didn't have before, because I was so easily distracted. My attention span was so small. So in the first week, I feel that that's what's happened to me. How do you think how have you found this first week, doing it for a number of times now? So
there's something that I want to say about the morning pages, because I've been doing them since 2005, and I filled around 150, 160. Wait, I have one here. 161. They are not negotiable, and I don't even think about not writing them. In these 15, 16 years, there was just one period of time when I did not write them regularly, and that was a time when I was in a really bad shape, and the fact that I wasn't able to write morning pages is actually a testimony to how bad those times really were.
The first actual time I really connected with this week of creating from a safe space, it was I was brushing my teeth late at night, and then I just had this idea. I was thinking about how I create and why I create, and I realised something really negative is that I started creating as a reactionary response. I was reacting to negative things that happened. So everything I wrote, everything I created was a product of negativity. And I'd never, and there's a cliche as an artist that artists don't like to create from a place of stability. They want addiction, they want heartbreak, they want trauma. But that's not true. We can function on a level that is stable, but I don't think I really have done that much. But I feel like when I'm in that stable headspace, when I'm writing the morning pages, my head clears and I can feel on a much deeper level, because I don't have my feelings, attacking everything I'm thinking. I just get to sense things on a much sort of higher level, and I get to really experience those emotions.
I have to go back like 1 or 2 sentences, because you said your feelings attacking your thoughts, correct?
Yeah, I did. Yeah,
that is such a great image, and because that is exactly what is going on. And you know that I'm a big fan of Joe Dispenza and his book Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself, and the subtitle, which is How to Lose Your Mind and Create a New One, and he talks a lot about like his way to a better life is meditation. And I think that the morning pages, when you do them regularly, really help just the same as a long-term meditation practice. You will be better in controlling your brain and your thoughts, and also the feelings, because you put the feelings on the paper, and it is harder if you stay in this image of your feelings attacking your thoughts. When you catch your thoughts on the paper, it is kind of harder for them to jump back out of the paper into your brain and attack your thoughts.
It's almost like the image of taking a painting, taking this image and putting it in a frame and hanging it up on the wall, and it's sort of owning that. It's sort of, once you've written it, it can't escape. This time last year, I just published a poetry book, and that was all about heartbreak, and although I'm immensely proud of it, because what it did do is it trapped those emotions, and it allowed me to write about them, and it allowed me to explore healing, and it allowed me to explore creativity. But if I was to create something now, I knew it would be on a different level, it would be on a more aware level, and I probably wouldn't have. And there's that embarrassment we carry around with us, and we shouldn't try and hide away what's made us who we are now. And as you were saying in the morning pages, you're trapping that negative emotion. It's almost like trapping and accepting everything that's happened to us, or that we're feeling or experiencing.
Yeah, well put, definitely, yeah. Today, I look at the YouTube videos that I made like 1 year ago, and I cringe. When I did that video, when I produced it, it was like, this is the best that I can do right now, and I'm proud of it. And so I sort of came to accept the fact that I evolve. And that is actually, that's a good thing. So this looking back at something that you did, and it feels awkward, and you think like, oh my God, what have I done there? I think it is a good sign. It's and it's also something that an artist has to come to terms with. Keep moving, although you know that what you just finished, like in 12 months, you'd be able to do it better. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean, because I go through the same thing, and I think yesterday or the day before I was looking back through photos of what I was doing this time last year and this time the year before, and I see so much evolution, and I cringe of embarrassment of even we start to disown what we look like back then because we don't feel that same connection to it. And it's just a completely crazy thought how we can go from thinking, wow, I was so cool back then, and now you look back now and you think, oh no, let me do this again now and see the differences. But we can only accept that, and we can only, really accept that, and we need to take that flow of creativity when it comes. And we were speaking the other day, Julia Cameron speaks of God, she speaks of a higher power, and you said that some people don't start the artist way because they get stumped by the mention of a higher power of God, and if people aren't religious, they might not connect to that. And let me just say, I am christened, but I'm not an active believer in any kind of religion. But the way I connected that, I didn't think of it as a God, I didn't think of it as a creature or a creator. I thought of it as just energy, a life force, a kind of flow of energy. And to me that comes from sort of within, but a within that's better than anything as a human.
There are a lot of people who put the book down as soon as they hear her talk about God for the first time. And when I hear that, I always feel so much, it makes me so sad, because the person who puts the book down robs herself of something, of the whole wisdom in this book, because she can't overcome her old concept of God. And it's, I agree with you. I think of this as energy as well. American pragmatism is my favorite, not religion, philosophy. And William James, also basically the founder of American pragmatism, he also was known for his radical empiricism. And if you really take that literally, if you look at the world, like really radically, and look at the world, why are there like millions of different flowers? Why? There's no reason behind it, like no logical reason. And so for me, I kind of like made this into the belief, whatever force is responsible for these millions of flowers and different kinds of animals, and look at people, how different we all are. There's really no need for this variety, but it is there. And to me, that is testimony for a creative force that is an artist and that really loves to create and to play around. And this force says, okay, I already did like a violet flower, I don't need another one. No, it actually says, wow, this violet flower is pretty, so let's do 100 more. If you want to call it God, this is the kind of God that I as an artist want to believe in. And everything else I reject. If somebody tells me God doesn't want you to be an artist, God doesn't want you to stand out, it's like, no, I do not accept that. It's not how I see it. If you find truth in the God concept that I just offered, then by all means take it. And it doesn't matter what anybody else told you or what you learned in church or in school. And if you think, nah, I don't think Shallalla got it right, I need a God, I don't know, that lives among us or sends angels or whatever, then, and that works for you, then that is your truth, and that is fine as well.
Yeah, and I 100% agree. I agree. You've got to do what's best for you, and you can paint that picture however you want, and you can paint that picture based on what anyone that you feel is comfortable with. You can listen to anyone and you can get any sense, as long as that doesn't harm you and that doesn't harm others. I think that's completely healthy and completely necessary for lots of people's existence. And what you were saying about the violet flowers is that as humans, we're all vastly different on like a level that stems from like epigenetics and how we like experience like our biology as well as the world around us. And you know, there's so much difference, and that can only be a good thing. And we can have lots of things that are the same, but everything is different on some level. And with art, that's the same principle. Lots of people say, you know, that there's never an original idea, there's never an original story. But I can guarantee, similar to epigenetics, that same idea, that same genetic code might be exactly the same, but how we express that in the environment's always going to be different.
Absolutely, and I think the originality goes into another direction as well, because it is the perception.
I made a new friend a couple of months ago, and she said to me in a voice message what she loved about art galleries is everyone in that art gallery is completely different, looking at the same painting and thinking and feeling completely different things.
I think everybody feels what they need to feel. If it is great art, everybody will take away from it exactly what they need most.
If it makes you feel something, I remember we're told this when studying literature, that even if you didn't like the book, then that's still a valid reaction to have, because you feel it for a reason, and that reason's completely valid. And it's a strange thought being told that you've been told to read this book, being told to studying it. And I do find a lot of the things I don't connect with, but what we've got to force ourselves to be interested in why we don't connect to it. And then if we unravel that, we'll find there's so much more within that.
Yeah, that is actually a great idea for an artist date. Like, find something that you don't like find a movie that you don't like, or look at a book of pictures, because right now you can't go to a gallery, but you can still look at books, and maybe you can find a book from an artist that you dislike, and just see what that does to you. Yeah,
I feel like that's a great idea, and I'm going to have to do that next week, because I am running low on ideas for artist dates, because in the pandemic we can't go places, we can't do what we want to do. So for my artist date, I decided to do an online martial arts class, which would put me in a position where I felt quite uncomfortable. And I remember you saying when you started doing artist dates, you didn't feel comfortable with the idea of doing something that's a bit silly, that's more play than work. And so standing in front of the TV, I really just copying this like martial arts teacher. I just wanted to go into a different room and sit down or do something else. But it's because I felt uncomfortable. It's just a strange thought.
I love that you went for an online martial arts class. That's amazing. That's a great artist date. Did you do like the whole Karate Kid thing? Like, did you like put the bandana around your head and put on white pajamas or something like that?
I didn't take it to that level, but maybe there's room for that next week.
Yeah, or maybe it's like maybe in like 2 months or so, when you warmed up towards artist dates, and if you do so, please have a camera ready and show us.
Yeah, and I feel like this is the growth that it takes to become an artist. It's being more comfortable with that you're not really comfortable yet, and it's about taking that risk, and it's about letting people, you stop caring about what people think of you, and just having fun to feel that level of enjoyment. So yeah, I suppose I might have to do that sometime.
I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, artist dates, they can be so tricky. I'm German, I like to work, don't ask me to play. I'm not sure if that is really a nationality thing, probably not, but it makes for a good excuse. And artist dates, they are horrible. Like, I'm one of those people, like, oh, write morning pages, get up earlier, write 3 pages. Okay, great, more work, I can do that. Okay, and then I want you to put aside like 2 hours per week and play. And I'm like, what? Seriously, in the beginning I was like, what do you mean by play and having fun? I'm still on the, like, a little bit stern when it comes to artist dates. I like to go to museums. I like to watch foreign films. But I try really hard to lighten up and to do some silly stuff as well. And I'm kind of proud my artist date this week, and I did exactly what Julia Cameron offered. I went to a store. Frankly, I was surprised that it was open, because in Germany everything is in a lockdown except the things that you need for like day-to-day living. But apparently,
here.
Apparently that like was expanded to a plastic toy, strange food, you know, where nothing costs more than €1, that kind of store. And I went there, and they had like so much stuff, like in huge baskets for like 20 cents or up to 50 cents. And I just sat down on the floor. People looked at me a little bit funny, but I thought, hey, I'm on an artist date, leave me alone. I'm supposed to look stupid. And I went through these huge baskets, and I'm kind of really happy what I found. So there are stickers and postcards where you're supposed to like glue glitter on. So all the stuff that I normally would never do. And I found, and that is actually my artist date for next week. It's an egg, and you put it into water, and then the shell falls away, and there's a unicorn in it.
But that's what artist dates are doing. It's what's good about them. That I'm sitting here listening to you trying to keep a straight face, and when you see this footage, you're going to be like, "Oh, he's really judging me," but I'm not. What I'm thinking is that's bravery to sit down in that store and to take out these things, and people are looking at you like, "Is she okay?" But I feel like when I look at my role models and the people I admire, it's my family that are brave, and when I've gone out to places, they're done I can't believe I'm so embarrassed. What are they doing? They can't be picking that up. No, put that fluffy animal down. But then that's what I admire the most, because that's what I want from myself. I want to get to the place where I am unafraid, and I feel like that's what your artist date has done.
In this one second, or like these 15 minutes that I was in that store, or maybe 20 minutes, I was amazed. The unicorn, I just have to finish this because it grows. So it's like at first, and with the water, kind of like, I have no idea how that works, but I will videotape it for you all and put it in our next conversation.
Thank you. Yeah.
Shall we talk a little bit about ideas? So if anybody is watching this right now and thinking of doing the artist's way, maybe we can brainstorm a little regarding artist dates.
As artists, we like the ideas of characters, so I thought, take your favourite scene from a film and record yourself acting it out, and you play all the characters, but it's just doing that silly thing, and it sort of plays into that idea of being a young artist where we want to be our favourite character, whether it be like a superhero, or we want to be that character. We want to be James Bond, or whoever these characters might be that we role play as kids. So why not do that as adults?
I think that is a really, really great artist date. And also, it gives us footage that we can show here. Okay, gotta go.
I might have to do that now.
I think you do. You heard it here first. That's amazing. I really love that idea. That really sounds like fun. I've never thought of that. That's amazing. I did for a while, for an artist date, I learned... or actually it was for the task, one of Julia Cameron's tasks, the Imaginary Lives. I went for actor, and so I started learning monologues and prepared to audition. That was fun. But you can do that as an artist date as well.
Auditioning has been something I've forced myself to do, and I really like that you've taken that imaginary life. And in the same sense of imaginary lives, the quote I picked from the margins of the book, The Artist's Way, because in the margins, Julia Cameron's picked quotes from other people, and I believe that if it were left to artists to choose their own labels, most would choose none at all. And I really relate to that, and I feel like you do too, because we do so many things, and so acting is a label, creativity coach is a label, singer is a label, writer is a label, but in truth we are just who we are. We're just humans that really like creating, and I feel like that's how the first week of The Artist's Way has gone for me.
I love that quote, and yes, you're totally right. I hate the labels. The quotes in the margins, I think they are really important, and that is why I don't like the German translation, because the German translation, they don't have the quotes, and I suspect that is true for any language. Go for the English version, because it's so much richer than the translated version without the quotes. I am looking so very much forward to the 11 more weeks of doing this. We said that we're not going to do a video every week, but the next time will be after week 4, because in week 4 there's this, without spoiling anything, is this critical exercise. I'm really curious what that does with you, that exercise.
And I'm really looking forward to talking about sort of how I've changed in the first 4 weeks and how you've experienced it differently for the 10th time. And yeah, I'm looking forward to whatever challenges that are thrown at us. So I'm looking forward to talking to you again about that.
Joe, it was really beautiful to talk to you. See you soon.
Thank you so much. Goodbye.